p.m. Is the mic on? Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the Pinole Planning Commission meeting on August 25th at 7 p.m. here at the Pinole City Council Chambers at 2131 Pear Street, Pinole. The public can submit public comments in person by attending this meeting at the Pinole City Council Chambers, filling out a yellow public comment card and submitting it to the city clerk. The public can also submit a comment live via Zoom video conference. You can download the Zoom mobile app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. If you're using a desktop computer, you can test your connection with Zoom and also join by phone as well. And the webinar ID is 865-0537-5301. You can join by phone at 1-669-900-6833 or 1-253-215-8782 or 1-346-248-7799. Speakers will be asked to provide their name and city of residence, although this is not required for participation. Each speaker will be afforded up to 5 minutes. Speakers will then be muted once their 5 minutes are up. When the chair opens the public comment period and you wish to speak on an item, please use the raise hand feature or press *9 if connecting via telephone, which will alert the city staff that you have a comment to provide, and press *6 to unmute. If you have gone to comment with your video enabled, please let the city clerk know that you would like to turn your camera on once you are called on to speak. Written comments can be sent and submitted to planning staff before the meeting via email at dhanham@pinole.gov. Please include your full name, city of residence, and agenda item that you are commenting on. Other ways to watch this meeting are live on Pinole TV Channel 26. They are recast. The community television schedule is available at the city's website and is also live streamed on the city's website at www.pinole.gov and will be archived on the website for 5 years. If none of these options are available to you, or if you need assistance with public comment, please contact Planning Manager Dave Hannum at 510-724-8912 or dhanham@pinole.gov. In compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, if you need special assistance to participate in a city meeting or need a copy of the agenda or the agenda packet in an appropriate alternative format, please contact the city clerk's office at 510-724-8928. Notification at least 48 hours prior to the meeting or the time when services are needing will assist city staff in ensuring that reasonable arrangements can be made to provide accessibility to the meeting. Staff reports are also available for inspection at the city's website, and may also contact the city clerk directly at hbell@pinole.gov. Citizen participation. Persons wishing to speak on an item listed on the agenda may do so when the chair asks for comments in favor or in opposition to an item under consideration. After all those persons wishing to speak have done so, the hearing will be closed and the matter will be discussed amongst the commission prior to rendering a decision. Any person may appeal an action of the Planning Commission or of the Planning Manager by filing an appeal with the City Clerk in writing within 10 days of such action. Following a public hearing, the City Council may act to confirm, modify, or reverse the action of the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission may act to confirm, modify, or reverse action of the Planning Manager. The cost to appeal a decision is $500 with a minimum $2,500 deposit fee. If you challenge this decision in court, you will be limited to raising those issues or someone else raised at the public hearing or in writing delivered to the City of Pinole at or prior to the public hearing. The Ralph M. Brown Act, Government Code 54950. In enacting this chapter, the legislature finds and declares that the public commissions, boards, and councils and the other public agencies in the state exist to aid in the conduct of the people's business. It is the intent of the law that their actions be taken openly and that their deliberations be conducted openly. The people of the state do not yield their sovereignty to those agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so they may retain control over the instruments that they have created. And with that, we will call this meeting to order. And we will begin with the pledge for those that are willing and able to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Ohlone people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Ohlone elders, past, present, and future, who call this place Ohlone land and the land that Pinole sits upon their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Ohlone community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. Planning Manager Hannum, could we please get a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Uch,
Here.
Commissioner Huey,
Present.
Commissioner Lamb Julian,
Present.
Commissioner Martinez is absent. Commissioner Binder,
Present.
Vice Chair Minez,
Here.
Chair Sandoval.
Present.
Let the record show that we have a quorum tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will move to our citizens to be heard. And it looks like we do have one comment card. The public may address the Planning Commission on items that are within its jurisdiction and not otherwise listed under the agenda. The Planning Commission can discuss this matter brought to their attention, but under the Ralph M. Brown Act, any action will be deferred to a future meeting. The time allowed is 5 minutes. And looks like we have one card in speaker in person. Sheila, please come to the podium. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Thank you. I'm Sheila. I live in Pinole Valley, and I'm going to thank commissioners, staff, and public, and the CCTV for me being here also. I was wondering if there was a subcommittee meetings in this last year or two, and if so, what did they pertain to? And if there's any minutes taken, and if there's any, and the members that are on it. And if that can be addressed some other time, maybe contacting me or next meeting. And I want to announce too that I haven't seen anything publicly announced really large, that there's a general plan workshop this Wednesday at the library starting at 6 o'clock, the Pinole Library. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have any other speakers in person on this item or any speakers online? Thank you. Planning Manager Hannum would be able to answer this question.
Regarding the subcommittee,
Yes.
we've had some subcommittee meetings over the course of the last year pertaining to the objective development design standards. So those have been, and we had one meeting regarding a design review on a radiology business on San Pablo. So that's what it is. There are no minutes. It's an ad hoc committee meeting, and so it's not a standing committee where we don't need to do minutes. However, if, at least at this point, at this time. So
The members of those committees?
the members of the committee are Commissioner Binder, Vice Chair Minez, and Commissioner Uch. And then, did you want a quick answer for the second one? Regarding the general plan?
Yes.
Okay, it's probably going to be part of my announcements later, but yeah, we are doing as part of the housing element, we are required to update our safety element. Basically, we haven't updated it in the last 10 years, and so we are updating our safety element and then amending the health element into a new environmental justice element. So that's what the workshop will be on Wednesday. So there's no land use, there's no circulation, there's no noise. It's just the safety element and the environmental justice element.
Thank you, Planning Manager Hannum. Any other comments at this time online? No other comments online. Sounds good. So we will move on to our next item, our meeting minutes for the meeting on June 9th, 2025. Do any of the commissioners have any concerns that they would like to bring up regarding the minutes? Vice Chair Minez.
No concerns. I just wanted to compliment the transcriber on her, I believe, skill in addressing the final portion of the meeting. It was elegantly done.
And with that, I will make a motion to pass our meeting minutes for June 9th. Planning Manager Hannum, can we please get a roll call?
I'll second the motion.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry, long day.
No problem. Okay, Commissioner Uch,
Yes.
Commissioner Huey,
Yes.
Commissioner Lam Julian,
Yes.
Commissioner Bender,
Yes.
Vice Chair Menace,
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Our next item is our public hearings. We do not have any public hearings scheduled, so we will be moving on to our old business and the discussion of the redevelopment of the Appian 80 Shopping Center, our compiled ideas resolution. Is there a presentation on this item or any?
Just what, we're just doing a short presentation because really the meat of the conversation will probably be the resolution and attachment A of the resolution. But just for historical perspective, the commission back in April wanted to take a look at different development opportunities for Appian 80, since at this point the shopping center has pretty much lost most of its tenants at this point. And so the developer's working on re-tenanting and doing those types of things. And so the commission wanted to make sure that they let the council know of what type of businesses and what type of what they think the complex should look like in the future. And so with that, staff put together a resolution to look at different things based off the summary of what the Planning Commission was looking at their April 18th meeting. We have put that together as part of the project, as part of the resolution tonight. And then at that point, we will, if there's any discussion, which I'm sure there is, we can discuss and move forward with that. So, Justin, do you have anything else you want to add to that? No. Oh, here we go. Try that one. Oh, it's not working. Nope.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties with the microphone.
How about that microphone? Is that one working?
Yeah. If not, you can use mine.
No, I don't think so.
There you go.
Planning Manager Hannah's mic. So, commissioners, as you look through the resolution, discuss and just review it to see if you'd like to make any tweaks to the resolution, which would be brought to City Council for their review and for their consideration. I believe the developer or property owner was also expressed interest in the commission's thoughts. They don't appear to be on the meeting right now, but they did say they were interested in looking over it.
Glad to hear that. Anything else from staff before we move on to?
Just one item. If there are changes that you want to make to the resolution and you want to bring it back to us before it goes to the council, we can do that as well. So if there are changes, if you want to make some changes and you want to bring it back to before you take a final vote, you can do that, or you can direct staff to make the changes and take those changes to city council. So you have the option of whether or not you want to bring it back or just send your changes to the council.
Okay, sounds good. And with that, we will go to the commission for questions and thoughts. I guess we can start with Commissioner Bender.
Thank you, staff, for preparing this. I really don't have any comments or questions on the item.
Sounds good. Commissioner Utsch.
I just have one comment, specifically on the list number 10 on, sorry, page 21, on the development ideas and concepts of Appian 80 Shopping Center, where it specifically talks about here, quote, the developer should consider ways to mitigate potential traffic impacts from any housing developments which have previous concerns regarding potential housing on site. The only thing I would change with the text is it possible to change the should to need to, as I think it's essential to really, put effort to address traffic. If we're gonna say build more housing, then more people are gonna be traveling, and so that should be one of a top priority to address that than something, oh, we'll deal with that later kind of situation.
Yeah, I think need to is fine, because, in new developments, there are ways that the developer would have to mitigate impacts such as like vehicle miles traveled and those mitigations. So as part of the project, they would have to do it anyway. So I think changing that wording would be okay.
Yeah.
Right. But overall, I really like all the lists that you guys really compiled. So good job, staff. And that's all the comments I have at the moment. Thank you.
Commissioner Lamb Julian.
The only comment I have is just, again, thank you, staff, for providing a very thorough list and capturing our comments and feedback. Thank you.
Commissioner Huey.
On page 21, on bullet point 2, it reads, development should consider the community's needs, and I'm wondering if it'd be more appropriate for us to state this as development should consider the community's needs and well-being, as needs are something that are self-identified, and the community may or may not be able to self-identify what is good for their well-being or need.
Okay. Yes, we could add that.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Menace.
So, yeah, I think that the one problem I have with this is it's sort of basically a bunch of bullet points that seem a bit disconnected from each other. I was wondering if it might be possible to sort of organize it into broader categories like well-being, transit, grocery store, views, like sort of identify the major themes in the things and sort of shift the points to be under those themes. I don't think the points themselves necessarily need to be rewritten, but for the convenience of the council and members of the public reading over the packet, it might be helpful to have a sort of heading 1 or 2 level of categorization rather than just a bullet point list. I don't know how feasible that would be, but figured I should bring it up.
I think we could add some headings. I think there's a general sort of order here in that the beginning talks about sort of needs, and the ending kind of talks about different examples and development. So I think we could look over this again and see if there are broader headings or categories that we could assign to these.
Yeah, it seems like if we've got a bunch of stuff that's talking specifically about examples, then we could just split that out and have it be under examples, and then potential uses could be its own segment, and goals could be its own segment.
Okay. We can
That's
definitely do
just,
that.
my thoughts. I'm open to, any suggestions or proposed amendments from the rest of the commission, and that's all my points for right now. Thank you.
I did receive comments earlier today from Commissioner Martinez that I'd like to read into the record for Commissioner Martinez. Dear Planning Commission members, I am sorry I cannot join you tonight in person for this important discussion. I have provided the opportunity to provide my comments through written message to you. I will be listening to tonight's meeting, but cannot actively participate. We have a unique opportunity for proactively express our collective thoughts to the Pinole City Council on how one of the most important sites in Pinole can and should be developed. The site in question is the former Safeway CVS site at the corner of Appian Way and Terry Hills Drive. The site is very unique due to its one, easy access to transportation, both public, private, on I-80 and in the Hilltop Transit Center. 2, the incredible views of the bay and surrounding vistas. And 3, its accessibility to existing Pinole and surrounding neighborhoods. With the proper development, the site can be a true destination location for our community and the surrounding communities. The site, if properly developed, can generate needed tax income for the city, provide housing for future Pinoleans, and be a site that all of us can be proud of. With all of this in mind, I'm asking that we provide clear guidance to the City Council that future development of this site should include opportunities for the following. Number 1, ground floor retail space of sufficient size to attract a well-known and respected retail grocery such as a Whole Foods. 2, a ground or top floor residential space, potential outdoor patio seating with amazing views of sufficient size to attract a well-known and respected destination restaurant such as a Yard House, BJ's, Lazy Dog, and potentially to draw a corporate-related event for Chevron, Biorad, and Kaiser. 3, a multi-story, multifamily rental apartments or ownership condos. Parking sufficient for both housing and retail/restaurant. And 5, electric charging stations. I understand that there may be concerns regarding traffic, air quality, and multi-story projects. However, this site, given its location, allows for the type of development I am referencing with minimal impact of the greater Pinole. The type of development I am referencing also allows us to continue to address our housing needs and requirements, thereby avoiding unnecessary litigation with housing advocates. The type of development I am referencing also allows us to create a stable and thriving tax basis for Pinole through both retail and property taxes. I hope you all can join me in proposing such a multi-use type of development for this site. Again, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts. Respectfully submitted, Planning Commissioner Frankie Martinez.
Thank you. And Mr. Menace, you concluded your initial comments, correct?
Yes, I'm interested in hearing from what the members of the public have to say once you're done with your comments.
Sounds good. I did have a couple of comments. Thank you, staff, for preparing us. I think this captures what the commission was looking to pass initially. I think it captures it pretty well. I did have some comments on some of the points. On point 2, actually let's see. Yes, point 2, I was wondering if we could add the word affordable under housing to try to make sure that we're trying to get a development that also has affordable housing as a part of it as well. For point 3, as for the grocery option, there's another point that is also kind of similar. Point 3 and point 20, I think that we should, in either one of those, add something that kind of mentions a unique grocery option or like a unique ethnic grocery option that I think that would be positioned in the market very well around here. Point 6, to kind of try to encourage public transit use in this future site. And for point 18, I was kind of, the reference to the veranda center, just wanted to kind of get a little bit more clarity on that. Just, we're not kind of, it kind of contradicts a little bit with what point 6 a little bit, where we're saying that it doesn't need to remain a strip mall, but we're also kind of naming a strip mall as an example. If you can get, sure, go ahead.
I recommended that, so Veranda, it is a strip mall, but it also has open space that families come and they're able to enjoy the restaurants. They have a place to sit to eat, which is something that's missing here in Pinole. You go downtown, there's maybe a couple of tables and chairs. You go to the farmer's market, there's not really a place for you to sit. So just the consensus from several community members is something where you have restaurants, the community can support it, but we also have a place to be able to support there. So we don't have to just take it and go, which would then increase opportunities for these patrons to support other businesses. So more speaking to of open green spaces and community, communal spaces is what that was.
Okay. Would you be open to amending it to include that into that bullet point?
Yes. How shall we word that?
Staff can, we can take a look at basically the commercial component of the development, can consider a look and feel of what we can say as a destination that would allow for outdoor dining as well as, I don't want to say play structures, but allow for family style development, or we'll wordsmith, community space, maybe some community space, something like that. We'll retackle that one a little bit. We'll take out Veranda Shopping Center, and we'll include something, even though I know that's kind of what the example, we'll kind of word it to where that's kind of what we're looking at.
Vice Chair Menace, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think with regards to this topic in particular, a fair amount of the language that we want to use, I think, is already in point 17. It's talking about repurposing buildings with potential for community space, green space, open space, and brick and mortar stores, and maybe include outdoor dining spaces in addition to that. Sort of merge 17 and 18 a bit.
So.
So if, just the language, it does repeat. So on 15 with St. James Square was just the example of just, of how it is not a strip mall and optimizing an irregular parcel of land. So you had micro businesses. So then I think we could probably clean up the language a little bit and then just kind of go through it. And then like Chairman was saying, to then group them together a little bit more, but we're just having a lot of the same examples with Whole Foods and Safeway. And then definitely echoing something unique like an ethnic, like a Las Montañas or an H Mart, to then fit the demographic of that part of Pinole.
What we can do is we can take a look at we'll take a look at those, and maybe we can condense into one, or maybe we can, maybe two or three out of the four. We might be able to just do it in two, but then keep it in its own quote section as part of the reordering.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe we take the descriptive characteristics of these places that we like and probably consolidate them.
Yeah.
Like the community open space or green space or
Mm-hmm.
micro business incubators and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Then I did have two other points that I think we could consider adding. One would kind of considering waiving permitting or application fees for a large scale developer. It's kind of because a lot of the time, development can be pretty expensive, and a developer may not want to go into it if they have to pay a large amount of city fees, or if there's other sort of like a city tax incentive that could potentially attract a business or a tenant. Yes, Vice Chair Menace.
I would have concerns about a potential gift of public funds if the city is advantaging developers for one particular site by waiving fees in that way. I would be hesitant to do that unless there could be a concrete finding that it's necessary and there's no other way it can be done, because the city is facing significant financial constraints which are going to worsen in the future.
What we can do is we can add something similar to maybe that we'd work with the development agreement to work with different things between the city and the developer that would waiving fees. That I don't think the council would want to waive fees at this point. But in terms of development incentives, there could be some development incentives that we might be able to offer as part of depending on what type of development that they provide. So we can take a look at that.
Okay. Sounds good.
I would,
Commissioner Bender.
I would echo what Vice Chairman has said about the fees, especially for a private development. And at this point, we don't know whether it would be fully affordable, or is it going to be the mix? I just think, as was stated, it's not the time for the city of Pinole to be waiving fees for, I think, specifically for a project like this. And it does set up a precedent for even future projects, and that might be problematic as well.
Commissioner
Right.
Utch.
Yeah, so I was gonna also address the skepticism a bit on essentially what you're describing. Sorry, for clarification, a sort of tax break incentive for them to.
Not necessarily a tax break, not necessarily giving public funds either, but kind of seeing what kind of what's being done in other places. A lot of development isn't really happening unless there's a really big incentive to do it, because it's expensive. So some places where the city doesn't own the land in this instance, but usually like places will offer discounted leases. But this isn't something that, city can't do that here, to try to attract a business.
Yeah, I mean, there's different types of, there could be potential credits, or if the project is going to add something to the community that's above and beyond, where then we can then either extract or help offset some of those costs in terms of, I want to stay away from fees, because it's not necessarily fees, but there'd be other conditions of approval, or there could be some, depending on the project, that if they're doing one thing and we enter into a development agreement, that it gives us a little more flexibility in what we can do and what we can't do. So, and it would allow some economic, if they're providing the services or what we're looking for in terms of a development, then the city can enter into a development agreement, similar to what we did with some of the residential projects in the past, and some of the redevelopment projects that we did in the past as part of the Pinole Vista projects way back in the 80s and 90s when those were being built. There was probably some incentives that the city provided. The city owned the property in a lot of those projects, so they had some skin in the game. So, yeah, I mean, so I would probably, if you want to add anything, that maybe we can add something that, regarding the development agreement, we'd enter a development agreement that have potential economic incentives that would, we can word it. I'll find some wording to kind of offset that, but I know what you're trying to do, so.
Yeah, economic incentives, I think, would be a good way to describe it. And that concludes all of my questions. Then we'll move to a public comment. Are there any other questions for staff from the commission at this time? Sounds good. So we'll move to our public comment, and we have one public comment in person. Ruben, you can come up to the podium, and you will have 5 minutes.
Is this on? All right. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ruben Galvan. I'm a proud representative of North Carpenters Union, Local 152, that covers West Contra Costa County. As we discuss redevelopment of the APN 80 Shopping Center, I want to ask a very important and critical question. Will there be strong labor standards on this redevelopment project? When I say strong labor standards, I mean contractors who pay fair wages, that support working families, access to quality health benefits, giving real opportunities for apprentices from state accredited programs who want to learn a trade and build a career in construction, and meaningful labor compliance with real enforcement to make sure contractors follow labor laws, pay workers properly, and provide safe working conditions. These protections help the community as a whole. When workers earn fair wages and get health care, they can better support their families and contribute to local economy. State accredited apprenticeship programs train the next generation of skilled workers who will keep our city growing strong for years to come. On the other hand, when labor standards are ignored, we open the door to irresponsible contractors who pay low wages, offer no health insurance, misclassify workers to avoid paying benefits, and even wage theft. These bad actors don't just hurt workers, they hurt the community by lowering the quality of work and putting safety at risk. The city of Pinole deserves projects built by responsible developers and contractors who will treat our working families with respect and dignity. I urge the commission to encourage strong labor standards on this project to make sure that the benefits everyone, not just the developer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any comments online?
No other comments online?
Still nothing?
Yes, no other comments online.
Sounds good. All right, and with that, we will close the public comment and bring it back to the commission. Any closing comments or questions? Yes, Vice Chair Menace.
So with regards to the comments by the public commenter, would the city's prevailing wage agreement apply to any projects here, or would it be far enough out of the public domain that it wouldn't apply?
What do you mean?
Not prevailing wage agreement, project labor agreement. I know the council passed, back in, I want to say 23, project labor agreement covering all public projects over $1 million or so.
Right.
But I don't know whether this particular work would fall under that or not.
Until we have a project, until we have an actual project online, until we see that, then we'll know. At this point, there is no construction project being proposed. We have no applications for any development or any design review. So it wouldn't be until there would be another project or another application that would come across our desk. At that point, then I think if the council or the commission, it would come, if it's a design review or conditional use permit, it would come to the commission. And then it would be up to the commission to either you could probably add that condition similar to what the council approved back in 2023. But right now we don't have that. We don't have a project. So there's nothing that we can do. This, what we're doing today, it does not constitute anything except for a recommendation to the city council for particular uses. It's until those uses decide to come to the city, then at that point, that's the next layer, and that'd be the next step.
So could we potentially add a bullet point saying something like, the commission recommends that any future project fall under the city's project labor agreement?
You could do something like that, yes. You could recommend that.
Yeah, you can continue. Did you want to make the change? I would be open to
okay.
adding that.
So I guess I'll move that we amend the Exhibit A to add a bullet point stating that the commission suggests, I suppose, that.
No, I would say just suggest at this point.
Suggests.
Because you don't honor it. The council would have to honor it.
Yes. We don't have the power to actually compel anything. We're just making suggestions here.
Nice try, though. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's strongly encouraged.
Strongly encourage.
Okay, so the commission strongly encourages the adoption of the city's project labor agreement in the implementation of any projects related to this site. Would that be the correct way to word it, or would there be a better way?
That's all right. We can use that wording.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay. If the commission before you make action on this, staff would recommend that that we bring this back, that we take all the changes and we bring this back. There's been a number of different changes that are being recommended. And so we want to make sure we capture all that and before we recommend to the council. So staff is recommending that the commission either table this to the next meeting and let us make the changes to it before we recommend directly to the council. So I want to make sure we've caught all of the commissions once as part of this meeting.
Sure, but before we table the item, I think we can just amend it to make sure that this gets added in, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the amendment's fine. I just wanted to make sure before you take your final action.
Sounds good. So we had a motion on the floor and a second. Could we get a roll call, please, on the motion to amend?
Commissioner Utsch,
Yes.
Commissioner Huey,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb Julian,
Yes.
Commissioner Bender,
Yes.
Vice Chair Menes,
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Vice Chair Menes, did you have any other comments or questions on this item?
Some might come up, but not at the moment.
Okay, we can come back to you. Commissioner Huey,
No, thank you.
Commissioner Lamb Julian.
Yes. I would like to recommend the point of reference, the examples, maybe as a footnote. So when council does read it, that if they would like to kind of dig a little bit deeper, they can. And then I would like to thank the public comment as a union sister since she was 18. Thank you, sir. I'm complete.
Commissioner Bender, any additional comments?
None at this time.
Commissioner Utsch.
I'd like to make a comment for the public commenter about, I absolutely agree, having a labor force that is not only well treated and well paid is essential for not only project development, but, for the well-being of the workers and for the community as a whole. So I'd like to thank you for bringing that mention up, as labor is very important, especially during our time in this country. And my final comment, on the Exhibit A changes is page 22. I know we plan on merging some of the points, but specifically on number 18, just want to clarify on how we specifically mentioned the Veranda Shopping Center in Concord, and the last point was mentioned specifically. One key point, I think I remember bringing this up, is the parking. I want to clarify on that. I don't want to make it. I don't want to make it look, or I don't want the statement to sound like specifically here like completely against car parking. More of like specifically the kinds of parkings. I think clarification on when we refer to Veranda is a very large surface parking lot. I think there could be we could use other examples of ways to address parking, as that is important, especially sadly in the United States of America, the main predominant way to get around is by car at the moment, and changes to make our built environment more multimodal is gonna take some time. So at the very least, we should have mitigating standards of addressing and building parking. One point, I think a big flaw, really quick on the Veranda, is the large surfing parking lot, and Concord can get very hot. I can imagine with your family, even trekking across a parking lot or being near it, that generates a lot of heat. And as someone who recently went to Folsom, out in Sac with my family, where they have large parking lots near the lake, and imagine, it's 103 degrees, and being in the middle of a surface parking lot is not great. So I think it's important to be sure that if we're going to have parking here, hopefully at this site, that it is of appropriate scale and takes mitigating design elements to make sure we don't get urban heat island effect, but also ensure that people who choose to drive at least have that option to, and also, would allow more space to have more retail, more housing, more public space. And I think good examples that we see, at least parking lots, I would say at least, or parking garages at least find myself strange saying this, that actually look decent are the ones in Berkeley at the very least. Like the one near, I forget which street. It's in downtown Berkeley. It's near City Hall, Center Street. At least with that falling design elements of, I wish I did more research on this specifically, but clearly Berkeley has some sort of standard of like, okay, we're going to build a parking garage, but we have standards to at least mitigate, you know, in terms of aesthetic appeal, make it look, you know, not super brutalist, so not only concrete and plain looking and dystopic, but also some community benefit, like the one on Center Street. Berkeley has a coffee shop, you know, bike parking, and a bike shop as well. So some element of that as well, I think, should be basically addressed in terms of like the kinds of parking that we should, at least parking design elements that we should be encouraging as clarification than like, oh, no parking. And that's all I have.
To tag on to that, like, would you want to see like a parking garage versus like surface level parking?
Yes. Now, not saying like complete abolishing of surface parking lot, but I understand that some of this, we should try to encourage. What I mean by accessible parking lot is like, you know, at the very least, the parking lot is not like following traditional strip mall styles, like having a sea of parking lot that distances the stores away from, say, the street, or at the very least, the parking lot should be of, I know there should be more clear language on this, but for the distance of one, say, traveling from their car to the business. Because if you have to travel over like what feels like half of a mile across a parking lot and it's blazing hot, then that's not really good for anyone to enjoy this trekking.
No, yeah, I agree. I do think, I kind of also think that a parking to mitigate some of like the, just not see like a sea of parking, maybe a parking garage could be a good way to kind of move, I guess, literally put higher density of cars into a more compact area, and then have it, you know, be a couple of stories to been something that would be on par and kind of matches the design of the development. Commissioner Lam Julian, yes.
To add to that, if anything, looking at an example of the Safeway Shopping Center in Hercules, understanding that wasn't the original site, but what ended up happening there was just so congested the bulk of the time. To add that language to see what they did and just don't do that, to add that in the mitigation would be ideal. And then if I could also add that in addition to an anchor tenant, whatever that may be, whoever that may be, to also put a clause or an ask to make sure that we have diverse tenants in there as well. So it could be main chains, but also making sure that we're creating opportunities for smaller businesses as well. Yeah, even partnering up with the small business, was it Small Business Association? Was it SCORE? I have to think about that, but I think it's like SCORE in Oakland, in San Pablo, to be able to SCORE?
On bullet point 21 talks a bit about a small business incubator, I think Kitchen at 8112 in Pinole. So I think that ties into what you're talking about having multi-level uses.
Just a little bit more. So Kitchen 812 is specifically for entrepreneurs. So just my ask is for the entrepreneurs to take that next step, that they're ready to establish a brick and mortar, to make sure that we're diversifying the tenants that are going to be occupying this space, to have a mix of anchors and main national chains, but also making sure that we're creating opportunities for the smaller businesses. A lot of the Kitchen 812 businesses they're startups and they're just not there yet. And then the other example I had provided earlier was CoBiz in Richmond. So that is a mixed use to where you can have event spaces as well as a smaller scale of a WeWork. But then that way, then if the developer were to take that on, it would provide another avenue or another resource for the community to have a meeting space, because that is something that's also missing here, because I think we have just a couple at the senior center and a couple other places, but really to have a meeting or an event, there's not very many options in the area. I'm complete.
Vice Chair Menace?
Yes, and I just want to echo some of the comments of my fellow commissioners, thanking the speaker from the NorCal Carpenters Union. I think there was a bit of a blind point in our initial considerations of basically what factors and what groups we should be considering with regards to this. We were looking at residents, we were looking at potential businesses, we were looking at the developer, but we weren't necessarily looking at labor as much. So I just wanted to thank you for sort of highlighting that gap in our considerations. And that's all. Thank you.
Sounds good. And then back to me. Yes, also wanted to echo the commission sentiments as well. Thank you. Thank you for being here as a political staffer. I definitely understand what that life is like and the long hours, and I definitely get that, and I commend you and for that, and I hope that the city considers, the council specifically, since we can't really do much, considers strong labor standards. Any other questions from the commission at this time? Any clarification needed from the commission to staff, just to make sure that staff is clear with what changes we kind of wanted?
Clear as mud. No, no, yeah, we have, Justin and I will sit down and take a look at this and kind of adding things that you guys want to add and, doing all that. So we'll want to bring this back to you before we want to take it to the council. So, we're pretty clear. I think, Justin, unless you have any questions on it, you're pretty good. All right, good. All right.
Sounds good. Do we need a motion for this to redirect staff?
I would just say that you need a motion to table the item until your next meeting or something of that nature. So this is an action item. So that's what I would recommend you do.
Would a motion to continue be the right way to do this?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll move that we continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting so that staff can have the time to implement the commission's and the public's thoughts and observations.
I'll second that.
Planning Manager Hanno, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Uch,
Yes.
Commissioner Huey,
Yes.
Commissioner Lim Julian,
Yes.
Commissioner Bender,
Yes.
Vice Chair Menace,
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Sounds good. And with that, we will move on to our next item, our new business, which we have none. And then we will go to our city planner / commissioners report. Mr. Hannum, do you have anything to report out?
Let's see. I might have a couple things. Just we are moving forward with. Just to let you know, we're finishing up all the changes and stuff for the objective development design standards and the parklets program. We're probably going to be having a public workshop for the parklets in late September. So for downtown businesses and any other businesses that would like to attend that, to talk about that program. Also want to mention that we are having a PAL, there's another PAL workshop, which there's a flyer. We have the flyers that we'll be passing out. I don't know if you passed them out already. Oh, okay, they're at the top. Make sure you guys get a flyer before you leave for that. And that's on September 7th, right? No, we'll find out on that one. Also want to mention about the community, the safety element and environmental justice element workshop that we'll be having on Wednesday, the 27th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the library. So that'll be at the library. The date is,
The panel workshop is September 4th. That's a
September 4th.
Thursday, noon to 1 at the Pinole Senior Center.
right, okay. So we got that going on. In terms of projects, we're still working with the developers of Pinole Vista and APN 80 and trying to, get some clarity of what projects are going on. We've been getting a lot of ADUs in. We've got a couple of conditional use permits that will be coming forward here in the next couple meetings for some more alcohol licenses that are coming through. So we got those. They'll be going to go to the council for their PCNs and then come back to the commission for that. So that'll probably be that. Just also want to remind the commission that we are only meeting once in November and once in December. So we have two more meetings. We have our 2 meetings in September, 2 in October, and then, no, 1 in October, 1 in November, 1 in December. Right, yeah. So we only have 3 meetings the last 3 months. So just to let you know about that. Unless we need a special meeting, then if something happens, we need to add a meeting, we will. But those are our scheduled meetings for the rest of the year. With that, that's all I have. Unless you have any questions on anything, I can answer. Justin, do you have anything you want to add?
Wanted to reiterate
Yeah.
reiterate your comment earlier about the safety element and environmental justice element workshop. That's at the Pinole Public Library, 6 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Vice Chairman.
So with regards to that workshop, when I looked at the city's hyperlink for the workshop yesterday, it said that Zoom information was still to be determined. Has that been updated yet?
Yeah, I don't think
Was that part of the meeting? What part was to be determined?
the Zoom link. If we were going to
Oh, yeah,
link,
the
and I
Zoom-
think we're working with.
Yeah, we're still working with PCTV to get that Zoom link, but it will be up and running by the time of we're trying to get it, try to get the information either tomorrow, and see what we can do. But yeah, that's going to be tough to get it, but we'll be announcing it all over. Once we get the link, then people will be able to call in, or at least not call in, but they'll be able to view the meeting. So there's some logistics not using the council chambers and using other stats when we're using a Zoom link for that. So we're working on that right now. So there will be one. We just need to.
Did any other commissioners have any questions for Planning Manager Hannum? No, sounds good. Is there any public comment on this item?
No public comment at this time.
Sounds good. So now we'll move on to our commissioner's report. Commissioner Bender, do you have anything to report?
No.
Commissioner Utsch?
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Lamb Julian?
Yes, on Saturday, August 29th, the State Developmental Disability Council will be holding a free training to explain the changes that are in effect to Medi-Cal right now, and how to navigate the new system, and the flyer will be available on the website shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hewitt?
No, thank you.
Vice Chair Menace?
Yes, just wanted to mention, some folks might have seen this on the city website already, but there's going to be a sort of downtown art walk event. I think that sort of falls under the economic development wing of the Planning Commission's jurisdiction. So it's going to be from, I think, 5 to 7 p.m. this Friday in sort of downtown Pinole generally. So I figured the public might want to know about that.
Thank you for sharing, and I have nothing to report out as well. Anyone on the commission have any communications? Vice Chair Menace?
Yes, should have done this earlier as part of the roll call, but forgot. Had my usual ex parte communication out to my email list about the topic that we were discussing today.
Any other communications? Sounds good. Any public comment on that item? All right, our next meeting will be the regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting on September 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And with that, we will adjourn.